for them and see what the very rich have planned for the powerless, or so they think we are. For the poor, as they say, what is the future for the peasants? Thus say the rich.
It seems that every day we're reminded that we live in an era of great power rivalry, that the rules-based order is fading, that the strong can do what they can and the weak must suffer what they must. And this
The weak must suffer. Strong do what they want. I don't know what God thinks about that. Actually, I do know, but I don't think you know. But let's keep it going.
Terrorism of Thucydides is presented as inevitable, as the natural logic of international relations reasserting itself. And faced with this logic, there is a strong tendency for countries to go along to get along, to accommodate, to avoid trouble, to hope that compliance will buy safety.
You know, that's such a crazy thing to say, coming from the Canadian government. This man has supported a government that has taken away people's right to self-determination, what should be in their body, flooding the country with immigrants without having them a place to work or live. Also, you are lying so much. You don't have anything to say about the Palestinians? Would those be the weak that is worthy sacrificed for wealth? Is that what it is? But Greenland's too much? But Greenland's too much. You can sacrifice and kill as many babies as you want, but Greenland is too much. Guys make me sick. Let's keep going.
Well, it won't. So what are our options? In 1978, the Czech dissident Václav Havel, later president, wrote an essay called The Power of the Powerless. And in it, he asked a simple question: how did the communist system sustain itself? And his answer began with a greengrocer. Every morning, this shopkeeper places a sign in his window: "Workers of the world unite." He doesn't believe it. No one does. But he places the sign anyway to avoid trouble, to signal compliance, to get along. And because every shopkeeper on every street does the same, the system persists. Through the participation of ordinary people in rituals they privately know to be false. Havel called this living within a lie. The system's power comes not from its truth, but from everyone's willingness to perform as if it were true.
So, like, if you know that a virus can be passed airborne and you pretend like it can't, and then try to get people to have some kind of weird mind thing about a flu, and then try to change how they grieve, who they can be with at the family's time of need in the hospital, how they should grieve or be with the people that are sick, what they should put inside their kids' bodies. Is this the agreement, the agreed lie? What happened to people who don't agree? What happens to them? They get debanked, attacked, slandered? Do they lose their job? Is there propaganda against them? Is there money against them? I'm so sick of people using their power to push these lies through so they can have more power. And I think God's sick of it too. So let's keep going.
And its fragility comes from the same source. When even one person stops performing, when the greengrocer removes his sign, the illusion begins to crack. It is time for companies and countries to take their signs down.
So because Trump finally stopped pretending, you can stop pretending? Did you ask to be in the stupid peace panel which is really a blood panel with pedo in chief? The hell's going on, yo? This is ridiculous. I don't understand. How Greenland is it? I actually don't think you are the president or the prime minister of Canada, because it took you to go to Davos to say anything interesting at all. Been prime minister how long? And this is the first time you say anything interesting is when you're standing in front of bankers. I guess you're really more of a bank manager than a president. That proves the point that you only really care about your money. The only time you had to say something to people actually, doing wrong all over the planet is when they attack your money. When they attack white money? Greenland? What's in Greenland? I think it's just the minerals. And you guys have a stash of old seeds that you guys are saving in case of, a mass extinction event. I think you can restart the planet with all the storage you have in that Greenland part. I know that you guys have a fridge there with all the seeds and a little ark. Yeah, I know about that. But you ain't gonna get to that, because it's all of us or none of us.
4 decades. For decades, countries like Canada prospered under what we called the rules-based international order. We joined its institutions, we praised its principles, we benefited from its predictability. And because of
I honestly don't think I've ever heard of something more racist than what he's just saying right now. He's actually breaking my brain. He's basically saying that we lied to everybody because we thought we were going to get money out of it. But now that we are getting hurt by it, can't lie about it anymore. You have to think of a new lie. Boo freaking hoo. How about all the people that died on the end of that rules-based order? How about that? Syria, Libya, Afghanistan, Iraq, Cambodia. Haiti, Ethiopia, Somalia, Sudan, Libya, Ukraine, Palestine. Just keeps going. What's Venezuela gonna do now, right? I hope your money keeps you warm. I hope
that we could pursue values-based foreign policies under its protection. We knew the story of the international rules-based order was partially false, that the strongest would exempt themselves when convenient, that trade rules were enforced asymmetrically. And we knew that international law applied with varying rigor depending on the identity of the accused or the victim. That international law applied with varying rigor depending on the identity of the accused or the victim.
The identity of the accused or the victim. That's the most racist. Is African? Out of luck. Caribbean? Too bad. South American? Sorry. How light's your skin? Are you the one helping move the drugs around? Letting American bases be built in your country? Well, if it's no, I can't help you. Yeah. The identity, eh? I bet you all these pedophiles on Epstein's list aren't on the bad end of the identity part, are they? Yeah? It's not a problem for the World Economic Forum, having all these pedophiles with big bank accounts running around. Sure helps a lot.
This fiction was useful. And American hegemony in particular helped provide public goods, open sea lanes, a stable financial system, collective security, and support for frameworks for resolving disputes. So we placed the sign in the window. We participated in the rituals. And we largely avoided calling out the gaps between rhetoric and reality.
Not largely, you completely did. You have never done it, we have never done it, even though the people want it. You never listen to the people. You always do what the banks and the money wants, all the time. And then you signal, like you show some kind of signal like that you care. Which is really just showing that you know what you're doing is wrong anyways, but you're still gonna make money from it. Like, what have you stopped? You helped Yemen, the poorest people on the earth. What are you talking about? Who benefited? Who is it that you are talking that benefited? I'd like to know these people. Who? So I'm pretty sure it's just a few. Everybody else is suffering. As you planned it. We're not getting cattle herded in here. Pen of hell. Thus says the Lord Jesus.
This bargain no longer works. Let me be direct. We are in the midst of a rupture, not a transition.
Who caused the rupture? Who caused the rupture? You're acting like it's an accident or something. Everybody's significantly, strategically silent about certain things. You don't have nothing to say about what Trump says about Ilhan Omar, but you care about Greenland. Man's gonna be racist for days, but if he takes Greenland, it's too far. Y'all people are so sick. You think you're gonna build hotels on Palestinian land? You think God is gonna let you do that? That's what you think? Is that what you think? Your money has polluted your brains for you to not even have real reason. Or to even how to interact with normal people. You guys are insane. You made up this lie to give yourself comfort of doing all this evil like nobody knew what you were doing. We all know. Some of us know. Others like the sound of the lie and will just believe in that. But now that we're gonna go into all truth, remember who the truth is. The truth, the light, and the way. Since you want truth now, we're gonna let all the truth out now. All of it. Let's go.
Over the past 2 decades, a series of crises in finance, health, energy, and geopolitics have laid bare the risks of extreme global integration.
And how you use that to attack certain groups of people. You know, the non-pasty, wealthy kind. The kind that doesn't sacrifice their fellow employees for monetary gain. Those are the people that suffer, right?
But more recently, great powers have begun using economic integration as weapons. Tariffs as leverage, financial infrastructure as coercion, supply chains as vulnerabilities to be exploited.
Using it against you. You guys use it against anybody you want all the time. Remember earlier in the speech, the identity of the people who you call it on? Y'all are ridiculous, man. And your AI is gonna fail too. Thus say the Lord.
You cannot live within the lie of mutual benefit through integration when integration becomes the source of your subordination.
I'm only speaking up now because now they're coming for my pockets. It was fine when it was your pockets, but now it's my pockets. And that can't happen.
The multilateral institutions on which the middle powers have relied, the WTO, the UN, the COP, the architecture, the very architecture of collective problem solving are under threat.
The architecture of collective stealing is under threat. People are noticing that we're a bunch of lazy psychopath losers who only care about money and don't really care about that person. So we're gonna have to take a different approach now. Oh boy, too bad. So sad.
And as a result, many countries are drawing the same conclusions. that they must develop greater strategic autonomy in energy, food, critical minerals, in finance, and supply chains.
And are you actually doing it for what the people want? Saying that people have access to more energy and food? Is that what you're saying? That people can control their own minimum? You're gonna leave Africa alone and let them control their own minimum? You're gonna let people in Canada get to prioritize their own minimum? Prioritize food here? Food costs?
And this impulse is understandable. A country that can't feed itself, fuel itself, or defend itself has few options. When the rules no longer protect you,
he was a banker. Of course, he was a honest banker, but never blackmail someone for their essential needs so you can make more money, right? Because that would be evil, right?
you must protect yourself. But let's be clear-eyed about where this leads. A world of fortresses will be poorer, more fragile, and less sustainable.
Just like you designed it. You designed everything that's happening now. You all helped get Trump in and do that, doing what you're doing now. About silencing all the wrong ways on purpose so that it can be out of control. So continue this, all this is happening that you all know and doing it on purpose. That we see. And you're all going to be responsible. Hope you will pay attention.
And there's another truth. If great powers abandon even the pretense of rules and values for the unhindered pursuit of their power and interests, the gains from transactionalism will become harder to replicate. Hegemons cannot continually monetize their relationships. Allies will diversify to hedge against uncertainty. They'll buy insurance, increase options. Sovereignty that was once grounded in rules but will increasingly be anchored in the ability to withstand pressure. This room knows this is classic risk management. Risk management comes at a price. But that cost of strategic autonomy, of sovereignty, can also be shared. Collective investments in resilience are cheaper than everyone building their own fortresses. Shared standards reduce fragmentations. Complementarities are positive sum. And the question for middle powers like Canada is not whether to adapt to the new reality. We must. The question is whether we adapt by simply building higher walls or whether we can do something more ambitious.
You know what would be ambitious? The actual truth instead of this half-truth crap. You just are going to blackmail more people into stupid credit fund ID digital bull crap. You think nobody's gonna care or fight back? Those are God's people you're doing this to. The one thing about, evil plans, you always remember the money, and you always forget about God. What do you think he thinks about this? You're gonna push through a new monetary system, and everybody's just gonna go along with it. People have fought for
Now, Canada was amongst the first to hear the wake-up call, leading us to fundamentally shift our strategic posture. Canadians know that our old, comfortable assumptions that our geography and alliance memberships automatically conferred prosperity and security, that assumption is no longer valid. And our new approach...
Is that why you keep selling out Canadians' rights? Canadians' right to be autonomous? why are you trying to take away guns at a time like this? If you're saying that, and you're saying that our geography doesn't even keep us safe, what makes you the right to ask for anybody's guns? With all this wilderness, people can't defend themselves? Why? Why? Is it for what you want to do? Not better than
Rests on what Alexander Stubb, President of Finland, has termed value-based realism. Or to put another way, we aim to be both principled and pragmatic. Principled in our commitment to fundamental values, sovereignty, territorial integrity, the prohibition of the use of force except when consistent with the UN Charter, and respect.
Now we can be principled? Now you care about UN charters? What are you talking about? You're still slaughtering Palestinians while you're talking right now. What are you talking about? Trying to get at Yemen? Can't stop bombing Somalia to make a Somaliland, so you could also bomb Yemen from there, like people don't know.
For human rights. And pragmatic in recognizing that progress is often incremental, that interests diverge, that not every partner will share all of our values. So we're engaging broadly, strategically, with open eyes. We actively take on the world as it is, not wait around for a world we wish to be. We are calibrating our relationships so their depth reflects our values. And we're prioritizing.
I would like where there is no human trafficking, especially of kids, and people can't make more than $1 billion. It's so unnecessary. How about a world where people see each other for who they really are? How about people that appreciate people's soul, people's spirit? How about that? How about that? How about a world where money isn't everything? How about that? How about a world where you love and you stay consistent? How about a world where you're not a hypocrite? How about a world where you stay consistent to the laws? And everybody is brought under those laws. You're now to this racist choosing, thinking stealing all these minerals are gonna get you something proper in the end. You're not escaping, you're just something that's not no.
Broad engagement to maximize our influence, given the fluidity of the world at the moment, the risks that this poses, and the stakes for what comes next. And we are no longer just relying on the strength of our values, but also the value of our strength. We are building that strength at home. Since my government...
Your strength isn't your strength. Your strength is our strength. And you can't have it anymore. You lost it. The speech is done. The people are going to be for the people from now on. People are going to be for the people. You creeps and cretins who only care about power and money, and standing up over people and trying to tell people what to do and how to live and what to think, what to say, what to feel. Your time is done. Our strength comes from God, and we're going to give it back to Him. Because we're done with your crap.
Took office, we have cut taxes on incomes, on capital gains and business investment. We have removed all federal barriers to interprovincial trade. We are fast-tracking $8 trillion of investments in energy, AI, critical minerals, new trade corridors, and beyond. We're doubling our defense spending.
You're fast-tracking AI? Did we ever have like a moral conversation on what AI could do to the brain? Is AI even going into our brain? Is it manipulating things? Manipulating events? Manipulating people? Cities, towns, states, provinces, countries? All money lines. How do we know it's not already doing that? Do you care if it's doing that? What's the moral thing of it doing that? What is AI doing, and why are all of rich people so giddy and on the same page about it? Makes me think it's super evil. Everybody who's down for it seems to be on the Epstein list and more. Fast tracking trade, eh? Trade for who? Trade for you, not for us.
By the end of this decade, and we're doing so in ways that build our domestic industries. And we are rapidly diversifying abroad. We've agreed a comprehensive strategic partnership with the EU, including joining SAFE, the European Defence Procurement Arrangements. We have signed 12 other trade and security deals on 4 continents in 6 months. The past few days...
Seems like... Why is it the only people who seem to be able to work with are the Europeans? Why is that? Is there something there? What is that? What's up with that? sign European trade deals because those ones are fair, but what about the other ones? You're just going to go back to the rule-based order of taking because you want to?
We've concluded new strategic partnerships with China and Qatar. We're negotiating free trade pacts with India, ASEAN, Thailand, Philippines, and Mercosur. We're doing something else. To help solve global problems, we're pursuing variable geometry. In other words, different coalitions for different issues based on common values and interests. So on Ukraine, we're a core member of the Coalition of the Willing and one of the largest per capita contributors to its defense and security.
Stop supporting the freaking Nazis in Ukraine and everybody would be a lot happier. How about that? Why are you supporting the Azov Battalion, which you know are Nazis? You know so much they're Nazis that you actually slap your hands together for an actual freaking Nazi. You guys clapped for a Nazi. You clapped for Nazi. Your party clapped for Nazi. I'm never gonna let y'all forget that. The actual volunteer kind Nazi. That's your new contributing factors. Yeah, all right.
On Arctic sovereignty, we stand firmly with Greenland and Denmark and fully support their unique right to determine Greenland's future. Our commitment to NATO's Article 5 is unwavering. So we're working with our NATO allies, including the Nordic Baltic.
I'm pretty sure that Israel has slaughtered the population of Greenland 4 times in the last 2 years. At least, minimum. Slaughtered the whole population of Greenland 4 times in the last 4 years. And at least 2 of those times is basically street kids, so.
To further secure the alliance's northern and western flanks, including through Canada's unprecedented investments in over-the-horizon radar, in submarines, in aircraft, and boots on the ground, boots on the ice. Canada strongly opposes tariffs over Greenland and calls for focused talks to achieve our shared objectives of security and prosperity in the Arctic.
What about Venezuela? What about bombing fishermen for no reason? What about ICE? So you're cool with the slaughter in Sudan? Is that what you're saying? Is that what this is? But Greenland's too much? You guys are so gross.
On plurilateral trade, we're championing efforts to build a bridge between the Trans-Pacific Partnership and the European Union, which would create a new trading bloc of 1.5 billion people. On critical minerals, we're forming buyers clubs anchored in the G7 so that the world can diversify away from concentrated supply. And on AI, we're cooperating with like-minded democracies to ensure that we won't ultimately be forced to choose between hegemons and hyperscalers. This is not naive.
This is so evil. You're just giving all your money and power and mental capacity to AI, not thinking of what it's going to do.
Multilateralism, nor is it relying on their institutions. It's building coalitions that work, issue by issue, with partners who share enough common ground to act together. In some cases, this will be the vast majority of nations. What it's doing is creating a dense web of connections across trade, investment, culture, on which we can draw for future challenges and opportunities.
Is that dense web of connections? Is that those data centers? Is that what you call those? I hope those go up. Let's hope those don't make it through 2026. All the data centers. Let's hope they implode.
Argue the middle powers must act together because if we're not at the table, we're on the menu. But I'd also say that great powers can afford for now to go it alone. They have the market size, the military capacity, and the leverage to dictate terms. Middle powers do not. But when we only negotiate bilaterally with a hegemon, we negotiate from weakness. We accept what's offered. We compete with each other to be the most accommodating. This is not sovereignty. It's the performance of sovereignty while accepting subordination.
The performance of sovereignty while accepting subordination. Well, that sounds a lot like Native history, Black history, a lot of history where, Europeans rolled up and then changed it and then stole it and then, made up their own thing, their own stories, their own lies, just to take more shit and hurt more people and profit from it. Can't forget that profit.
In a world of great power rivalry, the countries in between have a choice: compete with each other for favor or to combine to create a third path with impact. We shouldn't allow the rise of hard power to
Yeah, it was like third path resistance. How about resistance? Third path of resistance for the people. No more bowing down to this. No more playing along with this fake crap. We're gonna stand together and stand against this. Not having it no more.
Blind us to the fact that the power of legitimacy, integrity, and rules will remain strong if we choose to wield them together. Which brings me back to Havel. What does it mean for middle powers to live the truth? Well, first, it means naming reality. Stop invoking rules-based international order as though it still functions as advertised. Call it what it is, a system of intensifying great power rivalry where the most powerful pursue their interests using economic integration as coercion. It means
Yo, you know why white people are so successful at dominating people for their resources and getting away with it? Because they use so many words to say simple shit. Like, you say all that instead of just saying, jacking your stuff because I got a bigger gun. You think suits and nice haircuts don't make you criminals? Guys are the worst kind of criminals. Criminals that buy off justice so that you don't have to go to jail or pay for what you did, but everybody else has to suffer extreme justice for the minors of things. But you pollute the justice system with getting away with what you want to get away with. You're just stealing everybody else's shit.
Consistently, applying the same standards to allies and rivals. When middle powers criticize economic intimidation from one direction but stay silent when it comes from another, we are keeping the sign in the window. It means building what we claim to believe in. Rather than waiting for the old order to be restored, it means creating institutions and agreements that function as described. And it means reducing the leverage that enables coercion. That's building a strong domestic economy. It should be every government's immediate priority. And diversification.
Does that mean Canada is going to stop coercing people? You're going to stop coercing people to get things in their bodies they don't want? Coercing people to apply to stupid theories? Are you going to stop coercing people by stop burning pieces of the forest and then blaming it on the weather? Are you going to stop allowing people to manipulate our weather with chemtrails? Are you going to stop coercing us like that? You stop coercing us into AI? Are you going to stop coercing us with crappy food and food prices? Are you going to stop coercing us like that? I'd really like to hear that. Stop coercing.
Education internationally is not just economic prudence, it's a material foundation for honest foreign policy, because countries earn the right to principled stands by reducing their vulnerability to retaliation. So Canada has what the world wants. We are an energy superpower. We hold vast reserves of critical minerals. We have the most educated population in the world. Our pension funds are amongst the world's largest and most sophisticated investors. In other words, we have capital, talent. We also have a government with immense...
Hold on a second. The most educated. See, the way you word that. Do you mean that there is the most education happening here per capita? Because if you just ship a bunch of people here to go to school here, but they ain't from here and don't stay here and don't invest here, what the hell does that even matter? What are you talking about? You have schools that are just run by foreign money and foreign students. None of that crap helps you. As a matter of fact, it hurts. And what are people even getting out of this school? Are they even... How is that school helping to secure a better job, a better life, a better way of thinking, a better society? The most educated. But if anybody was smart enough to not take the vaccines, did it reward them or no?
Fiscal capacity to act decisively. And we have the values to which many others aspire. Canada is a...
Values the Canadian citizens do. The people that run it, no hyperbole, but majority of the prime ministers and statesmen and all the people of power are trash to evil. And I'm being serious. The corruption is too much. It's too much. It's way too much. nothing can get done unless the greediest can get their hands in the pie. So, you don't care about Canada.
Pluralistic society that works. Our public square is loud, diverse, and free. Canadians remain committed to sustainability. We are a stable and reliable partner in a world that is anything but. A partner that builds and values relationships for the long term. And we have something else. We have a recognition of what's happening and a determination to act accordingly. We understand that this rupture calls for more than adaptation. It calls for honesty about the world as it is. We are taking the sign out of the window. We know the old order is not coming back. We shouldn't mourn it. Nostalgia.
Really? Does that mean you're going to stop all the WHO, all the World Economic Forum stuff? You're going to stop all this now? Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying right now? You're going to stop? Because everything you've done up until now is to do what they wanted. So what the hell are you even talking about? Taking the sign out of the window to say what? Better lives? The new hegemony? The rule-based order for everyone this time. We promise. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. No, gross.
Is not a strategy. But we believe that from the fracture, we can build something bigger, better, stronger, more just. This is the task of the middle powers. The countries that have the most to lose from a world of fortresses and have most to gain from genuine cooperation. The powerful have their power. But we have something too. The capacity to stop pretending, to name reality, to build our strength at home, and to act together. That is Canada's path. We choose it openly and confidently, and it is a path wide open to any country willing to take it with us. Thank you very much.
No. Canada's path is supporting Canadians, respecting Canadians, showing love and care for your fellow Canadian, being to risk your own safety, health, and sanity for others, for doing the right thing, for helping people, for trying to stop suffering. That's what Canada is about. That's what Canada is going to be going forward. And any banker, the person who thinks they're going to stand up and lie and try to push us into the eye and try to divide and conquer, is going to get a real awakening. Because the people are awakening. And God is just about ready. So, all I say is please repent. And let this new world be what God has at the head. Or let it all burn. Because this ain't helping nobody but you.
Dancing on the beat.